My name is Bilder. I'm a 145er in the UFC, a featherweight, and my nickname for fighting is El Animal. Growing up, I grew up in a trailer park, pretty much single parent household. My dad was around for a little bit, but he was really bad alcoholic, so he ended up going to jail. My mom got fibromyalgia, and so she got put on disability. That's when it started getting kind of tough. Didn't have as much food in the house. In middle school, I kind of got tied in with kind of the wrong crowd, and ended up doing a lot of partying. And so that kind of made me question the authority inside the household and question authority as is, and nobody could really do anything about it. We were partying more and more, and that's when I had an overdose, and it scared my mom, it scared my friends, and I ended up going to inpatient treatment. I didn't remember overdosing, so I kind of, it was just it was almost like it didn't happen to me. I kind of just took it as a joke, I was like, I'm too young for this, for me to have a problem with anything. And then plus, if you see the other people that are in there, man, these people are super far gone. So right when I got out, I went to a halfway house and I was like, tell me what I gotta do to stay. And then once they told me what I needed to do, I did the exact opposite, so they had to kick me out. And then shortly after I got out of there, I started relapsing again, and just going down the same path, same people, same environment, same thing, right? And then my stepdad got convicted of a federal crime and ended up doing 12 years in the Texas penitentiary. So with him gone, and then my dad coming in and out of jail and back in the picture and in the household, and just causing havoc the whole time, it was just very unstable. And so nothing could really keep me focused. Running was cool, but my buddy got into a street fight with this one kid, and this kid beat the brakes off my friend, and I jumped in and beat up the kid after he beat up my friend. And then when he came back from school, I was like, hey bro, I'm so sorry, I apologize, you beat up my friend so bad, broke his nose, fractured his orbital, his eyes were broken, popped blood vessels in his eyes. And he said it was cool, and me and him, we became best friends from that point on. He was number 3 in the country, Manuel Contreras Jr., and that's where boxing and everything started for me. And it totally took me away from any want or need to smoke weed or drink or do any drugs and hang around that crowd, because I wanted to be focused. Yeah, I moved out here November 27th of 2017, so 6.5 years ago. I got a camera from a friend, and I wanted to learn how to film and edit videos. And I ended up doing a little mini documentary for a special needs guy at the gym. We raised a bunch of money and got him into a tournament that he wanted to do in Long Beach at the Pyramid, and he ended up getting triple gold at it. And when I was out there, I was like, man, I'm one decision away from making my life out here in California. All I have to do is decide. And I was at the beach, and I was like, no offense, but if this person could do it, I can do it, and I believe in myself. So I went back, and I had just signed with my management, and it had been 6 months. I was like, hey, what's it looking like with fights? And he's like, oh, well, nobody wants to fight you. You're the boogeyman, because I was top ranked in the country. I was number 1 in the country for MMA, and I was top 5 in the country for boxing. And I had 2 state titles for kickboxing. I had been training for 10 years. So I started when I was 17, boxing with my buddy Manny, and I moved when I was 27.
Go! Go! Find comfort there. Find comfort, Agnes. Don't let it worry you. Go! Keep walking, go!
I was getting ready for a fight. I was waking up 3 in the morning, training all day, every day, getting ready to fight Nico Ruiz. It was 2 weeks away from my fight. I was getting work in up at the UFC PI. I was out in Vegas training with Ashley Evans Smith. And then next thing you know, the whole world shuts down. And you're like, man, I was getting ready for this. I was ready. I was hungry. I was up early. I was putting in the work. I was dieting, doing everything, and then the whole world shuts down. And not only does the whole world shut down, but you don't know when it's going to open back up. For all we know, that's it. Like, we're done, you know? And then Dana White kept fights going, but that's for UFC fighters, not for people that are on the come up, you know? So the regional scene was totally dead. Man, I worked my butt off every day, all day, moved my whole life out here in a '08 Chevy Malibu with 200,000 miles on it. And to be faced with such diversity was heartbreaking, you know, especially when you were really dialed in and ready and in the best shape of your life. And we're not getting any younger. I was 30 years old, and that just kind of threw a wrench in the plans, you know, and just slowed things down. It was brutal. I've had this goal for so long, and I've said it so many times, so frequently, that it couldn't not happen. And when they offered me the position for Dana White Contender Series, I just wrote down my goals 20 minutes before that. And so when I got the call, I was like, oh, of course I got the call. And they're like, do you want to fight Alex Morgan? And I was like, I'll fight anybody. Whoever it is, it's already done, bro. Like, this is a win. This is just another win. I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I will win. And I thought I'd win by first round knockout, but I won by first round submission. Yeah, so I'm cool with either or. When I was on Dana White Contender Series, the first thing that Dana opened up with was, I'm gonna start off by saying I'm not looking for 32-year-olds. And I'm like, oh, sick. And he's like, but after a performance like that, he's like, you earned yourself a contract. Come down, Blake Bilder. It's like, and he's playing games with me. Come on, bro. You know what time it is, you know, so yeah, and I recognized that too. You know, I knew I wasn't getting any younger. You know, there was a sense of urgency. I'm always training. Like, if you look at like my social media, like on Instagram, like I'm constantly just doing stuff and just trying to like mix up the way that I do it. You know, I'll never do like one workout the same way ever. You know, I always try to switch it up, change the times, and the intensity at which I do it, you know. You know, it was something that was super unexpected, but wasn't a surprise, you know, because a month before that, I was heading to a meeting, and he called me, and he was like, hey, what's up, Blake? And I was like, hey, what's going on? And he was just like, no, he's like, I ate a bunch of sleeping pills. I was like, how much is a bunch? He's like, the whole bottle? I was like, why'd you do that? And he's like, I don't know. He was like, I just wanted to go to sleep. I just felt like going to sleep for a long time, and I was like, all right, well, 3 things. Number 1, I love you. Number 2, thank you for calling. And number 3, like, you gotta get help, you know? I talked to him about like things that he could do for depression and whatnot, and I mean, you can tell somebody something so often, so frequently, but if they don't want to do it, they're not going to do it, you know. So I told them, I go, hey, you know, like, if I was like, I'll Venmo you, Zelle you, whatever, however much you need. I was like, bro, get a Uber, call 911, have the ambulance come, like you gotta get like your stomach pumped. You gotta get help. I'll Uber you to the hospital. You know, he's like, should I call my friend? I was like, yeah, call your friend. Don't go to sleep. I'll send you money for coffee, whatever you need. I was like, but get a coffee and go get the help. You know, I say, I'm walking into this meeting right now. I'm gonna be there for an hour. And I called him afterwards, checked in. I was like, yo, did you go? And he's like, no. I was like, are you all right? And he's like, yeah, I feel good. He's like, I'm just kind of sleepy. And I was like, okay, but you're good. And he's like, yeah. I was like, hey, bro, you didn't want that, huh? You already regret it. And he's like, yeah. I was like, how you feeling? He's like, I threw up a little bit. And I was like, okay. I was like, but you regretted that. Like, you don't actually want that. Come on. And he's like, nah. And I was like, come on, bro. I was like, we don't make permanent decisions on a temporary issue, you know. And afterwards, you know, I've been telling him to go to church, and you know, like the people there would love on him. He ended up getting baptized. He brought one of his friends with. His friend got baptized that day too. And then I had been up all night partying with some friends, and like the day before, my mom was like, yeah, you know, Braden is acting crazy, you know, he's like, yeah, like tried attacking his girlfriend, like choked her, and like, you know, I don't know what was going on with him, but I was just like, man, you know, he's gonna hurt himself or somebody else like very soon, like you know, we gotta pray for him, you know, and I never checked. I should have checked in on him, but I was just like, I'm just gonna let it fade, you know, like. And then I woke up the next morning, and I was partying with my buddy. I woke up the next morning, and my mom's like, she's like, are you sitting down? I was like, oh gosh, I thought it was my grandma. And she's like, are you sitting down? And I was like, yeah, what? And she's like, Braden killed himself. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then she said that they like had found pills next to him or something, but that wasn't true. He was at a park, at a trailer park that he used to go to all the time and run and do workouts in, and yeah, he hung himself from a monkey bar, and some like 20-year-old kid found him. It's just like, you know, it's just crazy that you could go there, you know, but I don't know, he just wasn't in his right mind, you know. And like we tried to help him. I tried telling him to go to the gym, and like, I'm like, go to the gym, you know, start jujitsu, you know, stay in the church, you know, like be of service and try and help as much as you can. And I don't know what happened that last day, but I think he just felt like he might go back to jail, and he didn't want to go back to jail again, you know, because he went during COVID. You know, in COVID, like you were locked down like all day. You know, you're treated like an animal. You know, and yeah, it's just like, it's just brutal. You know, because like when I talked to him that day, he was like, I was like, hey, you regret it, bro? Like you don't want to do that. You know, like he's like, yeah, you know, like I didn't actually want to do that. You know, but a month before that happened, there was telltale signs. And then we go to the funeral. We just get there, view his body, and I get a call, and I'm on the couch. They're like, hey, what's up? We got a fight. Reggie Baldo Carvalho, so Glover Textures guy, Alex Pereira's teammate. I look over, I see my mom and my brother just like low-key panicking, but in a calm way. And I'm like, all right, you know, if there's anything that I could do right now, it's to get a fight and keep my family's like mind occupied on something that's good, you know, and give me something to focus on. I was like, look, either I sit here and mourn about something that I can't change, or I get busy and get active, you know, getting after something, and take my mind off of things and take their mind off of things too. And so I just got busy, and I had just met my coach Flame, who I was working with earlier. And I love that guy, man, because he lost his little brother when he was like 5 or 6. His little brother got ran over, and he saw it, and he watched it, and he held him while he bled out. And so when I came to him, we were in the room, and I go, hey Flame, I just want to say like sorry for my absence. You know, I apologize. I was out of state. I went to go see my family. It was like my little brother just committed suicide. And he's like, my condolences, Pa. However, life is what we make it. So let's make it the best and become world champions and knock this motherfucker out. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And he's like, come on, Pa, let's get ready. Let's go. There's no time to waste. We only got a month and a half. And I was like, fuck yeah. And I started working on the bag, hitting the bag all aggressive. Rah. You know, like taking my anger out. He goes, hey, Pa, tomate, like tranquilo, like relax, bro. Like you're too tight, tense. He's like, bro, act like you love your job. And I was like, what? And he's like, bro, love your job, love your life. We got today. La vida es para hoy, no mañana. And he's like, He's like, it's time to live for today, not tomorrow. He's like, so enjoy it. Smile when you hit. And I was like, okay. Bye. He's like, there we go. Yeah. And he just started programming my mind where it's like, you know, it could have went up another way. It's like, hey, you know, I lost my little brother. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But he never did that. He goes, okay. Well, me feeling bad and sorry and feeding into that emotion isn't going to do anything. But let's focus on the objective and get it done. And that's exactly what we did. A month and a half later, we went and got the knockout in the 3rd round. Yeah. My faith is everything. And I was always like a lost kid. I didn't know who Jesus was. I didn't know who God was. But when I would run by the church, I always run by the church, and I'd always like look over and I'd be like, man, you know, like there's something about this. And then like my great grandpa was a deacon, and he presented himself in a way where it represented God, like, you know, and he didn't have to like jam his beliefs down anybody's throat. He lived his beliefs. And I always felt that in him. And when I was in the 8th grade, when I had the suicide attempt, that was the first time I ever prayed. And I prayed to God, and I go, look, God, I made a mistake. And I don't want to die. I made a big mistake. I'm sorry. If you have a purpose and a reason for my life, let me live that and fulfill it. I was like, I messed up. I know I did. And that's what I was trying to tell Braden. It's like you regret it. I regretted it. I was like, because when I tried that, I didn't tell anybody. And that whole night, I was sick all night. But I had a radical change after that night. And it wasn't until I was 20 that I accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior from a random guy, random evangelist in the Mall of America. And it just came up with me and asked me to pray a prayer with him. And my life radically changed after that day. And so my faith is what carried me through, you know, the little bit of faith that I had, you know, because I still pray before my fights. You know, I still pray before I go to bed. You know, I still pray for my family. And it could have easily been me. One of the big things what I fight for is like I've been that guy that's been the underdog my whole life. You know, been counted out, like, oh, hey, give up on this guy. Like, it's useless, it's pointless. Like, he's gonna let you down every time. But I like to fight for the people that are counted out, that are the underdogs, and show that, hey, like, yeah, you know, like, things might have been this way, but they don't have to stay that way. And no matter what situation you're in, you can always change it. You can always change it. I recognize that my thoughts lead to feelings, my feelings lead to actions, and my actions lead to a result. You know, and if I could change the way that I think about things, it'll change my attitude. And the way that I feel about it will change. And then when I take action, now there's a possibility of hope. And the results are what they are now. You know, it's awesome. You beat the #1 fighter in all of Canada with 3 pro titles and a win over a guy in the UFC for Dana White Contender Series. This guy was dangerous, you know, Frost the hobby student. So that was a really good win. Technically not the UFC, but it was a UFC fight, you know. Then we beat Shane Young in his backyard. We traveled 30 hours to get there and go beat him in his backyard. And man, you just feel on top of the world. You're like, man, this is awesome. I had a partial tear in my right hand as I was getting ready for the fight against Kyle Nelson. So for about half the camp, you know, I was just like, just sticking the jab, just using my jab. So I had like 3 weeks of good training camp. The rest, you know, it's like I'm just like trying to do what I can with like kind of one hand. You don't realize it, but like, man, your thumb is responsible for so much. You know, so it was tough. And then had that loss, and just so many fans were just like not fans anymore. Just so many people that watch UFC fights. I mean, they'll go on your page and they'll just, you know, just tell you that you're the worst piece of shit in the world. You know, like people mocking my little brother's death. Like people like making fun of me, calling me a clown, calling me this, messaging me, like anything that any story that you put up, or a post that you put up, a reel that you put up, you know, they like to throw it back in your face. Oh, hey, you lost to a guy that's gonna be a plumber in a year. Hey, dude, you're a piece of shit. Like, you should go kill yourself. Hey, bro, you're a clown. You're trash. Give up now. You know, biggest hype train. And it's all guys that like lost like a bet. Like, they lost like their parlay. They lost like 20 bucks. And they feel entitled to talk to you like that. So it was crazy. Never experienced anything like that. Most people haven't. And you realize, like, oh gosh, it's kind of a bigger deal than like what I thought it was, you know? And then it kind of puts like more pressure on you. And you're like, oh man, like, you know, like I'm losing people money. Like I'm like, and then it's like less about the fight. Now it's like almost not fun. And then I was down and out for a little while. My management made the fight happen with Sung Jung Lee, which I didn't necessarily approve of. And they just said, oh yeah, you're fighting this day. And I was like, I guess who? They're like, #1 fighter out of South Korea. I was like, when? They're like, 1 month. I was like, okay, all right. And it's like, I had been like inactive for like a month, you know? So I like got back with the crew. I had a new guy in. Him and my coach Flame did not get along. One wanted me to push, one wanted me to pull back. I would do things his way, and I go to the other gym, and the other guy would be like, yo, what's up with this? And respect to both coaches, it just wasn't the right corner, and it was just two different ideologies, and one man can't serve two masters, right? You know, so the other guy was like, hey, I appreciate your time and everything, you know, it's just not a good fit. So right now, we just start keeping it simple. You know, as you can see, like, we work on like really constructive things and like being able to see things correctly. And when I come here and go to the other gym now, you know, they're all for like everything that's going on. And they're like, oh yeah, all right, this is great. You know, instead of, oh bro, why are you doing it like this? No, you have to block like this. And it's like, man, I only have 3 weeks really to get ready. 3 weeks I'm preparing. Then the week of, I'm just kind of like cutting weight and like focusing on the stuff that we've already worked on. So there was a discrepancy of like the game plan and whatnot in that last one, and it showed. You know, like my last performance was not me at all. You know, moving forward, there was like a bit of a confidence issue. You know, like, oh man, you know, like I'm on a 2-fight losing streak. I was on a 15-fight winning streak. I'd never lost. Yeah, I went 36-2 as an amateur. My only 2 losses were at National Golden Gloves in the semifinals for the Ringside World Boxing Tournament, both in boxing. And then my only 2 losses now are in the UFC. But people still like, you know, I got a pretty decent following on social media, on Instagram, and people just love to throw it in your face. Oh yeah, oh hey, this guy's, by the way, he's on a 2-fight losing streak. But even when I won in Perth, Australia, you know, like, oh, it just looks like a sparring match. Oh, this guy, like, da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, even when you win. And I kind of was like, whoa, man, like, no matter what you do, you face a lot of judgment and criticism and critique, you know, and it'll always come. And so it just helped me develop thick skin. I think just going through it and dealing with it and having people say the most out-of-pocket stuff, like, bro, somebody mocking somebody's little brother's suicide is like the lowest of the low. After that, I was like, bro, this is like not even real. So I don't even see it as like real. And then I see if like people are coming at me kind of crazy, a projection, an outward projection of what's inwardly going on with them. And I go, so if you have to, whatever you have to say to make yourself feel better, you would never say that to my face. Nobody would ever say that to my face. You know, and if you did, even then, I'd be like, hey man, you know, like at the end of the day, like I don't know what you're going through or what you need. I was like, but I love you, and I'm here to pray for you. You know, and I will be praying for you. And I pray for that person that mocked me and my little brother. And you know, because people are hurt, and you just realize there's a lot of pain inside people's hearts and minds. You know, and it has nothing to do with me and everything to do with them. I can't let that affect me. You know, it's like I'm gonna be the mountain, and they can be the wind, or like I'll be like a giant, like mighty oak tree, and they'll be the little squirrel that's running around, right? So that's the way I have to do it. I have to be grounded in who I am and really understand who I am. And because I'm honest with myself and the truth will set you free, I'm free from you, and I'm free from the outward criticism, and I'm free from me. Because I don't have to react, I get to respond, right? Yeah. My goal is still #1 in the world. I post it on every post that I do. That's still the goal. You know, it's like I will set the most lofty goal and try to obtain it. And I don't care if you believe that I can do it. I don't even care that I believe that I can do it. I set it because of who I'll become in the process. So for me, I don't ask like what I'm making on the job. I ask who I'm becoming on the job, right? And that's what we should all be asking ourselves. You know, like, who am I becoming today? Am I moving towards like what I want, or am I not? And it's one way or the other. And if you don't have an objective, then you're drifting. I go by MVP. I even have it tattooed on me, and I work well with acronyms. So you got to be the most valuable person, the most valuable player in your own life, because the most valuable person is who they're gonna seek out, and you wanna be of value. You wanna be able to serve other people, you know, and I think MVP also stands for mission, vision, purpose. You know, you have to have your mission at the forefront of your mind at all times, you know, so you know what direction to move in. If my mission and my vision and my purpose is to be #1, hey, do you wanna come out and eat like in and out like super late at night? It's like, no, bro. Like, and the more people that you tell, the more people understand like this is your boundary, and oh no, he's on a mission to #1. Like, he wouldn't do this. So you tell other people how to think about you. Now you're attracting that into your life, because you're saying, oh no, I don't go out this late at night. I don't just eat whatever at any point in time. Like, I'm focused on the mission at hand. Hopefully we get another fight soon here in the UFC. I plan on putting on a good show, and win, lose or draw, it's whatever. You know, like for me, I'm in the action business, not the results business. So I'm gonna take every single action that I can take in order to be the best version of myself that I can be, in order to be able to win. And if I come up short, I come up short. And if I win, great. You know? And now it's no pressure. I'm not fighting for any internet people. I'm not fighting to win somebody's parlay. You know, I'm fighting to glorify God, and to show that people can come back from precarious situations, and you can do whatever you want to be in life.